Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. We're going to talk about Doctor Who Series 12 premiere, Spyfall Part 1, that's a mouthful, and we're going to talk about the ratings dropping off a cliff. Lowest ratings for New Who, for, well, not New Who, but Jodie Whittaker's run as the Doctor, Chris Chibnall's run on Doctor Who. We're seeing those ratings fall, and I have to admit, I'm actually a little surprised. I thought more people would check out the New Year's Day special. I thought maybe people would be willing to give the show another chance after Series 11. I was actually willing to give it another chance because I had heard that they were going to kind of backpedal and introduce classic villains, and of course they did. They reintroduced the Master in Spyfall Part 1. Spoiler, the Master's back. But yeah, it doesn't seem to be enough to get people interested in this incarnation of the Doctor. And I'm not just talking about Jodie Whittaker's Doctor, I'm talking about Chris Chibnall's Doctor. I honestly feel, and I know people out there are going to totally disagree with me, but I think Jodie Whittaker under a different showrunner could actually do the job very well. I think she's a talented actress. I just think that Chibnall's Doctor Who is balls. I think it's terrible. I think it's boring. And I've talked about that. We're going to talk about this. So before we get into it, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We're at about 86,000 subs. Thank you so much, guys. We've literally doubled the amount of subs that we have on Clownfish TV in the last 4 to 6 months. It's been an amazing ride. Thank you so much for the support. We look forward to bringing you more content in 2020. So yeah, this surprised me. I had several people on Twitter. One of them was Richard, and I forget everybody else. I'm so sorry. We get people hitting us with tweets all day. But a lot of people pointed out that the ratings were bad for Spyfall Part 1. Now, I did give a review for Spyfall Part 1 a couple of days ago. I actually reviewed it as soon as I watched it. And look, I have been a long-time fan of Doctor Who, going back to Classic Who. When I was a little kid, I used to watch Classic Who in the States on PBS. Love Tom Baker, you know, and I've been watching New Who since pretty much the beginning, since it's been available here in the States. And for me, up until Series 11, it was must-see TV. Like, I never missed Doctor Who. Never missed Doctor Who. Loved it. And Series 11 just tonally was so different from Moffat's era and from Russell T Davies' era. It felt like a totally different show. And it wasn't just because there was a female Time Lord. Everybody's like, you just don't like women in the TARDIS. We've had women in the TARDIS for years. We had Romana. What happened to Romana? But that wasn't the issue I had. The issue I had was the show had become very, very boring. It was very pedestrian. It was very much like a drama with a little bit of ill-timed humor sprinkled throughout, a little bit of science fiction here and there, but it didn't feel like the Doctor Who that we've come to expect. And I'm all for mixing things up, but if you're going to mix it up, you got to one-up the previous incarnation, and this version of Doctor Who is definitely a downgrade, despite what Jodie Whittaker's Doctor says to the head of MI6 in Spyfall. This was not an upgrade. This version of Doctor Who is a downgrade, in my opinion. So the ratings are down. The ratings are down, and here we go. This is coming from The Sun, you know, probably not the most reputable news source, but I have several that are reporting on this. Struggling Doctor Who attracts worst ratings under Jodie Whittaker as millions of fans snub show on New Year's Day. Doctor Who bosses probably wish they could take a TARDIS back to a time when the show was still a guaranteed ratings hit. And that would actually be before Peter Capaldi. Like, look, you know, people keep pointing out, well, you know, Capaldi's ratings weren't good either. I'm like, yeah, I know. But Capaldi didn't have quite the drop-off that Whittaker had. Whittaker, you know, they made such a big deal about, you know, the show premiering to massive, massive ratings. And it did. It started out very strong. And you can see by the middle of Series 11 that the show had basically, you know, almost halved its audience. And now we're dropping even further. People are just losing interest in Doctor Who. On New Year's Day, the struggling sci-fi series attracted its worst viewing figures under new Time Lord Jodie Whittaker. Now, this is important, and in the interest of fairness, these are the worst ratings for Jodie Whittaker's Doctor, not New Who. Again, Peter Capaldi's episodes, a lot of them were below the 4.88 million viewers that Jodie Whittaker's Doctor has. But we're talking less than half of the viewers that Doctor Who had when it premiered in 2018. So her debut season in 2018 kicked off with more than 9 million viewers, but steadily fell to around 6 million a week. Wednesday's show peaked at just over 5 million viewers, and at one point it fell to just 4.88 million. An insider, a TV insider, reportedly says, Beeb bosses were hoping the downturn in ratings toward the end of the last series was just the novelty of Jodie's arrival wearing off a little. This does happen. New doctors usually have a huge intro episode, and then, the ratings tend to settle. And we saw this with Peter Capaldi too, where, people checked out Capaldi's Doctor. Some people liked him, some people didn't. I'm actually in the camp that liked Capaldi quite a bit. I liked Peter Capaldi's Doctor quite a bit. However, I wasn't completely blown away by all the episodes. I think he had some very, very good episodes, and his monologues were epic. I just think he belonged in a better show. I think he belonged in better episodes, but I digress. The fact that the new season seems to have fared even worse will have the BBC worrying whether it has less to do with who plays the Time Lord and signs of a greater problem with the show. Are we gonna blame Doctor Who fatigue now? Is that going to be a thing? Doctor Who fatigue? I mean, the show was getting a little stale, but how hard is it to go back to the formula that worked? I mean, I'm not trying to be, beat the same drum, but when the show worked best, it was younger, action-packed Doctor with a companion that could potentially, maybe, possibly be a romantic interest. And I know that old school Who fans don't like that angle with the potential love interest of the Doctor, but they packed in the female viewers. You had, David Tennant had the hots for Rose. Matt Smith kind of had the thing going on with Amy Pond. That seemed to work. That seemed to be when the ratings were the best. And it also, when the budget was there, when Doctor Who didn't feel like it was, budget cut. This version of Doctor Who, it feels like a drama because it feels like they spend more time sitting around drinking coffee than they do fighting aliens and stuff. Now, I will admit, the Series 12 opener Spyfall, for me, was a bit of a step up from Series 11, but not enough of a step up to push it back into greatness, not into the greatness that I expected from the show, which I'm in retrospect, beginning to think that Doctor Who peaked at the 50th, and then it's kind of been a slow downhill, progression since then. Even though I like Capaldi quite a bit, I don't think all of his episodes were all that good, personally. But after all, the debut episode aired on a day when many people were still off work and school and should have attracted a more substantial audience. Yeah, it was New Year's Day. New Year's Day, they should have had more people watching Doctor Who. Why not do it on Christmas Day? Christmas Day, that was the thing. Remember Christmas? Yeah, they used to do Doctor Who on Christmas, and those always did well. However, another insider says Doctor Who was the most watched show on BBC One on New Year's Day, and the second most watched show on television after Emmerdale on ITV. So maybe people just weren't watching TV on New Year's, who knows? The new season's first adventure, Spyfall, a two-parter inspired by James Bond films, continues on Sunday night. The series will now air on Sunday nights too. Spyfall stars Stephen Fry as the Spy Master and Sir Lenny Henry as a 007 style baddie. And a sensational twist, Sacha Dhawan, is that Dhawan? How do you pronounce his name? The guy who played Davos. The guy who played Davos in Iron Fist. And I didn't recognize him at first because he's actually smiling in this episode, because Davos in Iron Fist, which I actually, made myself watch Iron Fist. That was a chore, but I did it. He was very grumpy. He was a very grumpy person, but that was the character. I actually liked the character of O. I did. And then he became the Master, and then it got weird, and he had the real O in a little matchbox, and it looked like a doll from like Shining Time Station or something. It was very weird. But Missy is going to be a really hard act to follow. It marks the first time that the Time Lord has been on our screen since last New Year's Day, when Jodie was seen battling the Daleks. A junkie Dalek. She battled a junkie Dalek. Remember when the Doctor used to give these sweeping monologues in front of entire armies of Daleks and Cybermen and all kinds of alien threats? And you would be chilled to the bone because the Doctor was always kind of unassuming until he was pissed off. We haven't seen that side of Jodie Whittaker. I don't know if her Doctor is capable of that. I want to see the Doctor return to that, where, you know, the Doctor will play the God card when the Doctor has to. And we haven't seen that. We've seen a Doctor that's kind of hapless and helpless and doofy, but never ever furious, never ever mad at the universe, never ever mad enough to burn down whatever threat is threatening the people that the Doctor loves. Maybe Spyfall Part 2 will see that part of the Doctor again, because, you know, people need to realize the Doctor, even though he/she always had a very unassuming demeanor for the most part, was absolutely a force to be reckoned with. I don't see this at all in Whittaker's Doctor. I really don't. The slump in viewers comes after the Beeb didn't bring the show back in 2019, failing to capitalize on the renewed interest in Doctor Who. Yeah, they waited a long time. You know, out of sight, out of mind, and there's so much better TV out there. You know, and with all the streaming services, with Netflix again, you know, I'm throwing out The Witcher again. We're watching Witcher. I think we got 2 more episodes to go yet, but I'm loving this show. I'm gonna watch The Witcher over Doctor Who. Doctor Who's just not must-see TV for me anymore. I'm sure show bosses are regretting that now. So yeah, it's all over here now. Just to see how far it's fallen. So they said it dipped to 4.88 million viewers on New Year's. Now we can see the consolidated numbers here in the overnight numbers. We don't know exactly, you know, where it's going to be, you know, when they tally up the iPlayer and all that junk, right? But Doctor Who did have a massive spike in viewers when they introduced Jodie Whittaker. A lot of people were interested in what the first female Doctor was going to be like. There was a new showrunner. A lot of people were having issues with Moffat being kind of cliche at this point, and they wanted to see what was going to happen. And well, what happened was people tuned in at first and then they got bored. And you can see, you know, we went from, you know, geez, over 10 million consolidated to, you know, down to, well, a little bit over 6, but, you know, we're talking 8.2 million at the beginning overnight. By the time we got to New Year's last New Year's, 5.15 million. That's a huge drop off. And now it's dropped off even more. There should have been a spike. There should have been another spike, like, oh my gosh, new Doctor Who. But to be honest, I think the marketing, the promotion for this has been pretty weak. At least here in the States, it's been terrible. Like, oh yeah, by the way, Doctor Who's back. There hasn't been a big push for it. Doctor Who, here in the States, during Matt Smith's era, during David Tennant's era, all the pop culture blogs were talking about it, promoting it. It was a huge deal. Countless articles about Doctor Who and, you know, River Song and Amy and Rory and, you know, Donna Noble and just on and on and on. And even the media over here has apparently lost interest in Doctor Who, you know. So I think it's a problem on many levels. I think there is like legitimate fatigue over Doctor Who, but people will come back if the show is good. Unfortunately, the show is boring and some people love it. I mean, it's getting fantastic reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm actually probably going to drop Doctor Who. I never thought I would. I mean, I even sat through some really shitty Peter Capaldi episodes, but I still love Doctor Who and I made sure I watched it every week. And now I think it's, you know, if this season doesn't get better, and I don't think it's going to, I think this is just the way that Chibnall and Whittaker want to handle Doctor Who. I'm out. After, you know, 10 plus years, I'm out. And I think a lot of other people are out too. So I'm going to put a link to a lot of the outlets talking about it. It is not a good look. And this is the first episode of a new series on New Year's Day. I think we're going to see the numbers dip down to Peter Capaldi levels here pretty soon. You know, and just to show you the difference in 2017 with Peter Capaldi's Doctor. And a lot of people were claiming that Jodie Whittaker was, you know, just completely destroying Capaldi's era. I think Doctor Who is going to settle down into these numbers again. Because here, this is his final season. And we're down into we're right back where we started from before the big change. Under 5 million viewers. The worst of Capaldi's era being The Eaters of Light only had 2.89 million. You know, but even The Doctor Falls, which I thought was a great episode. I thought the end of Peter Capaldi's era was great. But even that, you know, under 4 million, and I think we're headed there. Because look, we dropped off from 4.64 million to under 4 million, and I think I think we're headed there again with Whittaker's Doctor. So I think, you know, maybe the BBC should put Doctor Who on hiatus. I don't know. They're not going to, because they've got that deal with HBO Max where supposedly they're going to have a series 13 and 14. Now, whether or not Chibnall and Whittaker are going to be involved, I don't know. Pro tip, HBO, if you have any say in production, please bring Murray Gold back. Please bring Murray Gold back. The music for this series just sucks. It's horrible. It's like elevator music. Murray Gold was phenomenal, and he's sorely missed. But yeah, Doctor Who, worst ratings for Whittaker's run. Okay, so please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, and we will talk to you guys later. Hey guys, thanks for watching Clownfish TV. Please consider supporting the channel. Go to clownfishsupport.com. That's clownfishsupport.com. And if you want to join our community, go to clownfishtalk.com. That's clownfishtalk.com. Please subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We will talk to you next time.